What's up, Turf Talk? We're back again for the Turf Talk podcast. I'm here with,
Link Suziak.
and today we're going to be talking about Bills and Dolphins offseason. Also, maybe a couple other things we're going to touch up on, but mainly it's going to be our core teams. It's just going to be one of those podcasts. So I want to start off with talking about the Raheem Mostert cut. He 2 years ago, 2023, he had, I believe it was 22 total touchdowns for the Miami Dolphins, and that was a great season. He was our first 1,000-yard rusher since, I believe, Jay Ajayi, maybe Kenyon Drake. He really helped us out in the run game, the pass game, and even bits and pieces last year until he started fumbling the ball and he got, the boot for Jalen Wright. He was still performing at a pretty high level. This cut is big for him and the Miami Dolphins. This is showing that the Miami Dolphins are going in with the young guys and maybe adding one more power back. That's kind of what the Jalen Wright role is to replace Raheem Mostert. We have Achan, who isn't really a bell cow, but he is a great scat back. When you look at the last 2 years, he's led running backs in receiving yards, receptions, receiving touchdowns, all these separate stats. He's been great rushing the ball each year, getting around 800 yards rushing. This year, he had 14 total touchdowns. And I think this is big for Raheem Mostert because he really was on the way out. He is cemented as one of the best Dolphins running backs per season, having 1,000 yards and 22 touchdowns. He broke all of Ricky Williams' records. So it's one of these ones where we save 2.5 mil cap space. It hurts a little bit, but I'm happy to see him go if it's his time. He's a great guy. I watched the Hard Knocks. He's really happy with the Miami Dolphins and his situation that he was with. Hopefully him and his family, they can go on and find a better team, and hopefully he can get back to that success he was having in 2023. I don't know if the Bills have made any cuts yet, but that's just what I've seen already from the Dolphins. We'll go more in depth with the Miami Dolphins free agency after, but what do you have to say about the Bills free agency as of right now?
The Bills are yet to make any cuts. I don't really think we're obviously there's gonna be cuts, but I don't think it's gonna be as big players as people say. I know a big one is Von Miller. I feel like Bean is going to restructure that whole contract and just give him a new contract that's a lot cheaper and works a lot better. Because I think over here we like Von. They like Von. And Von said that it's either, I think Von kind of said it's either he's a Bill or he's retiring.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe if he gets cut, we just see a restructured contract for him for the Bills to get some cap space and not pay him as much. But other than that, been slow so far for the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost thinking that the Miami Dolphins this year, it's going to be a very interesting year when you have a situation where Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are in. I think it's almost like what OJ said. If you start with 1-3, 1-4, by Thanksgiving, those guys are gone. So I really do believe that they're going to go full out. They're going all in for a Super Bowl run, which I don't think this team's very far off of if Tua can stay healthy. I'm not going to go out and predict us to win a playoff game, but I also would say if we could get some more physical guys that are ready to step up in the cold, because we've already seen Tua's narrative has been broken. He plays not great, but he plays good in the cold. He's played multiple games good in the cold. I mean, even this year in Buffalo, he had a game where he had 3 incompletions. I was like 22 for 25. He has had good games.
That wasn't that cold though.
It was under 40 degrees, which is where that's the narrative, is that he can't play under 40 degrees. Even the Packers game, he had almost 300 yards, or maybe he went a little over 300. Like, he's played good games in the cold. It's just the team around him. I almost want to say that Packers game, we had 22 missed tackles. I know it was in the 20s. If you miss 20 tackles in a game, you're not going to win that game. What one thing that I do want to go over, and I think we can definitely go through this, is roster moves that we made this past offseason. I'm going to almost talk about them in a grading standpoint. Like the Braxton Berrios re-signing, that really didn't affect us. It's going to be like a C for me because Braxton Berrios was hurt all year. You know what I mean? So he couldn't really help us at all. He did perform in 2023 though. So I mean, those are just a couple guys like Deshaun Han we re-signed, River Craycraft we re-signed, Isaiah Wynn we re-signed. Except for Hand, all three of those guys got hurt. You know what I mean? So like, I don't think this is an off season where Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are going out and getting guys that could develop after a year or two. They're going out to get stars right now, and this is their make or break year. It's going to be an interesting off season.
I mean, with the Dolphins, it's just a big culture thing, and if they want to compete and be in the race for the Super Bowl or be even in the playoffs, they need to switch their culture.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be something where we need guys that can perform in the cold and aren't scared to go out and hit. For some reason when it's these big games, our guys fold under the pressure. One of those players would be Kendall Fuller. I see that he performed good against the bad teams, but he wasn't that great against the good teams. He's one of those guys that I wouldn't be mad at if we cut him.
You guys did
I was hyping him up. He had a 2-year deal, $8 million per year. But if we could save cap space, I wouldn't mind cutting him and getting another option.
Kendall Fuller did get cut
from the Dolphins.
Yeah, they cut Raheem, Kendall Fuller, and Durham Smythe all in like the same.
I saw Smythe got cut. Well,
yeah,
we're on the same wavelength then, because Kendall Fuller is one of those guys that, I mean, we signed him to a pretty big contract. Like $8 million it's not nothing. That's a pretty decent contract size. Really expecting him to replace Xavier Howard, and especially in our new scheme with Weaver, which I'm happy he's back. But yeah, I mean, he didn't perform. I would like to keep Poyer, but I think we need to give him a smaller role. I mean, even you've seen it where I think Poyer is at a point in his career that he's a good role player. I don't think he's a full-on starter anymore, and I think that's another reason why the Bills didn't re-sign him.
Yeah, I think he's done. Honestly, I can't think of a team in the NFL right now that would want him starting. Like, even if he came back here, he would not start on our team.
I think I still want him on the team though. Like I would appreciate if he stayed on the team as like a safety 3 or 4. He was really helping out our guys, like our younger fellas develop. I saw in training camp videos he was teaching Javon Holland stuff.
Did Javon have a bad season though?
That's all. That was due to injuries. And plus, when you're in the position Javon is, he had an injury to his knee and hamstring that actually should have been not career ending, sorry, season ending. And when you're in a situation that he was in where your team's not going to make the playoffs and you're not trying to get hurt because you could get this bag in free agency, I completely understand why he would have been taking plays off. There was plays that I can remember from the Jets game where instead of going out and going for the tackle behind the line of scrimmage like he usually does, he went and attacked the block instead of going for the tackle. I think he was kind of making business decisions a lot of the time where he knew that there was a very low chance we made the playoffs, and he was kind of protecting his body more than going out and fully playing, which, I mean, that's something that I don't really appreciate, but also I can understand. Because, like, if he tests free agency, he's going to be a guy that can make close to $20 million. You're not, like, it's going to be a high in the teens number for Javon Holland. He's a 25-year-old safety who's at the top of the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A couple signings that really didn't help us was Anthony Walker. I was excited about him. He helped us in the beginning of the year, but after he made a mistake, Terrell Dodson came in and really, really stepped up and kind of took his role out. So you could expect Anthony Walker to be getting cuts. I could see that. Jake Bailey, our punter, too, is another guy. Jordan Brooks, A-plus signing. I'd like Saran Neal to come back, not as a coverage corner, but he's super good on special teams.
Yeah, I told you that during the season. He sucks in coverage.
Yeah, and it kind of sucked because we were at the point this year where he was covering people due to injury. Like, we need guys that can stay on the field. But Siren Neal was great on special teams, dude. Like, he really helped us out. Our coach, actually, that we just fired, our special teams coach, was with us for 3 years. And all 3 years, we were 32nd, 32nd, and 29th. So hopefully we could get a better coach.
We just fired our special teams coordinator, too. Thank God our special teams coordinator was also awful.
Dude, I don't know why it's so hard to just teach the guys how to – dude, punt is so easy. Like, I don't understand how bad coaches are. Like, especially the Miami Dolphins coach. That guy had us consistently the worst.
Our like, punt coverage unit was so – or, like, punt, like, blah. All in general. One, like, you see teams like the Chiefs, like, they actually go to block a kick. I can't think of the last time I saw the Bills ever even attempt to block a kick. They never try. Kick return-wise, half the time, with the new kick return rules, they don't change anything really. They still just knee it out.
Yeah.
And then, but like punt return, other than Codrington being a good punt returner, nobody blocks for him. The blocks are awful. And then, I don't know. It's just special teams is gross.
Yeah. The last signing that the Dolphins made, there's two. Calais Campbell, A-plus signing, and he's I'm guessing he's not going to retire, but I also heard he wouldn't mind coming back to the Dolphins. If he came back to the Dolphins, it would be such a blessing because that's one of those guys that really is a Super Bowl deep playoff player.
Wait, who?
Calais Campbell. I mean, he has no experience in the Super Bowl, but even this year, he was playing at a top 10 level. At 38 years old, he's 6'8", has a 7-foot wingspan or whatever he has.
Was he not on the Cardinals when they went to the Super Bowl? When they put the Steelers, was he not on that? Was he on that Cardinals team?
I don't believe so. I know he was on the Cardinals a couple years ago, so I don't think he was. He might have been in Jacksonville back then. I'm not sure, honestly, but he was a huge one. If we could get him back, very exciting. Jonnu Smith. I think he was our only Pro Bowler. So, I mean, big ups to Jonnu. He's an absolute animal. He broke, like, every tight end record for us, too. Like, Jonnu Smith was insane. I guess Arthur Smith knew something about football, dude. Trying to feed the ball to Jonnu Smith. This guy is a dog. I almost would go out, and I want to hear your opinion on this. If we could trade Tyreek Hill and our pick and trade up, and possibly get, like, I mean, one of the top tackles, a top guard. Like, I think where we're at right now, we could get Jack Campbell. Or not Jack Campbell, sorry. I'm trying to think the guy from
Will Campbell?
Yeah, Will Campbell. If we could get like a Will Campbell where we're at right now, I'm fine with that. But if we could trade up, and I'm not gonna say this, you know what I mean? You're not hearing this from me, but maybe trade up into the top 8 and get McMillan. Trade Tyreek Hill away for McMillan. I wouldn't be mad. I saw it on Twitter, and I initially didn't like the idea. But the more I look into it, Waddle, McMillan, Washington, Jonnu Smith. I'd prefer to go a bigger player. Like if
I wouldn't like the idea.
Hear me out though. If Abdul Carter falls to 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Might have to. But where do you sit on that take?
I don't like that take. I don't like trading Tyreek up and drafting McMillan. McMillan's gonna be a great player, but that's once again that's just avoiding your weaknesses. It's the same thing that McDaniels does every year. You build a nice roster with a bunch of shiny players, skill positions, but your trenches suck. Your O-line blows and Tua's hurt halfway through the season, your season's over.
I don't know though, because I mean, I don't see a world where we go line. I don't trust this organization, dude. I don't
wouldn't either. I'm glad that the Bills have a good organization. I don't have to worry about crap like this.
I just don't trust Stephen Ross. I don't think that he's the right owner, and he says that he's in it to win a Super Bowl, but I almost think that he's in it like the Dallas Mavericks owners, just for the money.
Half the owners are in it for. Half of them are just in it for the money.
We need Jerry Jones or something, dude. I don't know. Talking about players' wiener sizes. I don't know.
That wasn't what?
Yeah, have you not seen that clip?
No.
Yeah, dude. He's sus. Yeah.
Dude, he's like 86. He's old as hell.
Dude, it's insane. Aaron Burr was a good signing, though. He ended up being a top 10 center in the league. Chase is texting me. What are your guys' signings? Did you guys sign anyone big this year?
I'm going off the top of my head if I can remember. Mac Hollins was a great signing. We re-signed Ty Johnson. That was good. Who else was that? I think I'm missing something. I don't. Not. I mean, really, it wasn't any. I mean, like Curtis Samuel, I was probably like the one we gave the most money to, but he didn't really show up till later in the year. There was Austin Johnson. He was a good D tackle for a bit. He actually led the team in interceptions at one point.
Ooh.
Yeah, really wasn't that big signing wise this year for us. I mean, really the big one is probably Mac Hollins. Yeah. I'm probably missing someone if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Guys that I think like people should re-sign when it comes to the Bills or the Dolphins. Jordan Brooks needs to be re-signed or extended. Terrell Dotson needs to come back. Campbell needs to come back. Brewer, extend him. Extend Smith, Jonnu Smith. Extend or re-sign Ty Johnson. Re-sign DeMar Hamlin as maybe not a starting role player, but maybe a third.
Are you talking about the Dolphins or the Bills? What?
Both.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. I agree.
I think re-sign DeMar as maybe like just an eighth box type of player. Maybe like you could even put him if you're in a 4-4, put him in an outside linebacker. He can stuff the run.
Yeah, so I was telling Dan Mitchell.
Yeah, decent in coverage too. I mean, like he wasn't doing terrible against Travis Kelce. I know that's nothing crazy. He kind of blows now, but he was doing pretty decent. So if he could get his coverage up, which I know he's a hard worker, he can. I almost think you keep Von Miller though. I think if you could just fix his contract where he's not making a shitload of money until he's.
I don't think he cares that much. I mean, Von definitely I don't think cares that much about the money anymore. Mm-hmm. He'll definitely take he's already taken big pay cuts. Like last year he took a big pay cut. I think now he'll definitely. I think he could definitely take another big pay cut. Mm-hmm. Like honestly, me personally, I'd like to just restructure that entire contract and make a whole new one. Like maybe turn it into a 1-year deal, cheaper contract. Yeah, I mean, obviously, biggest thing for the Bills this offseason is pass rush. Like it's been how many years in a row? I mean, it's not like they don't try. It's just they do it it never works. Rousseau, Von Miller, Ed Oliver, it just never getting good D line. Like Dan said, it's been a decade since the Bills had a 10+ sack D lineman.
Yeah,
we need a D tackle or an edge rusher. We need a corner. Because Rasul Douglas is definitely not being re-signed. He was a big liability. I would personally be upset if he was re-signed, honestly. I mean, he's a great guy, great for the culture, but man, was he just not very good at football this year. Well, if he was re-signed to a cheap deal to be a backup, that's fine. Safety is a bit of a need, even though I don't mind where we're at safety. I think there's a lot more important positions on the team. And then offensively, the only position you need to attack is receiver. Everything else you're pretty much set at: quarterback, line, running back, tight end.
Yeah, I like that. A guy I missed is Javon Holland. Honestly, I know I know he's a guy that I should be like, because he was one of my favorite players too. And it's like, I think we should go out and re-sign him. If he wants more than 12 mil, I think we should let him walk. We're not in a position to re-sign him to a 4+ year deal. I think, especially where he's at right now, maybe a 3-year deal is good for him. Maybe like a 3 mil. I'd even take a 3 mil 40-year extension, which that's great money. I mean, maybe not resetting the market, but it's still very good money. I think he's a resignable player. But I look back and I'm like, well, Christian Wilkins, he left and had a down year due to injury. Robert Hunt played great and really helped out Bryce Young. Maybe we should have paid Robert Hunt. Look at where our guards are now. So, you know what I mean? It's like I almost want to say Christian Wilkins is going to come back this year and be one of the best players in the league. Like, these are guys that we've let walk in the past, and it really hasn't helped us. So I want to re-sign Javon. I don't want to give him a back-breaking contract. But I mean, with this Tua contract, we're in with Tua for at least this year and next year. Like, he's our quarterback for at least 2 more years. So we might as well go build around him. I think we need to re-sign Javon Holland. But like players that, like, I don't even know. We need another safety because Marcus May ended up getting caught halfway through the year. Not a great signing either. We need another safety. Linebacker, we're good. Edge rushers were good. I would almost say we could trade an edge rusher because we have Phillips. If he could stay healthy, we have Bradley Chubb, which he could have came back last year, but he decided not to because we were out of playoff contention. He's a guy like Von Miller, you know what I mean? Like, we gave him a big contract, and now as an edge rusher, he's hurt. You know what I mean? So what do we do with that? Do we try to package him up and trade him away? Like, it's a very tough situation.
I mean, yeah, the Bills right now, re-sign wise, we're really not in a big predicament. I mean, Amari Cooper, we don't really need to keep him. Razul, once again, we can go find someone younger. Really, my main wants because I'm looking at the guys right now. People I want back are Mac Hollins, Reggie Gilliam, Ty Johnson, Jordan Phillips, Reed Ferguson, Quentin Morris, DeMar Hamlin, and they already re-signed Van DeMark and Anderson. And those are all guys that they're not expensive at all. I mean, their current, according to this, I don't even know what website this is, but their current average per year projection is going to be 7,000 or 7 million for the highest player.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cheap players. But I mean, peeking into next year, this is why you want to not have to re-sign many people next year. I mean, starter-wise, next year, we got Connor McGovern, David Edwards, Greg Rousseau, Sam Martin, which he's old, James Cook, Cam Lewis, Terrell Bernard, Khalil Shakir, Jamarcus Ingram, Benford. There's a lot of big names there. Obviously, I mean, guys I left out were, did I say Epinesa?
Nope.
No, guys I left out were Daquan Jones, Epinesa, Kyer Elam, because those are guys we can split ways with them. Epinesa had a great year last year, but then this year he just wasn't the same player like all our edge rushers. But I mean, really the big ones there are Benford, Bernard, Cook, and Shakir, which I think at least 2 of them are going to get it done this year.
Benford needs it done this year.
My wants this year would be Benford and Bernard. I want them locked down the most. I feel like, honestly, I don't know who I'd rather have more with, Shakir or James Cook, because
Mm.
If you look at it, I like James is an awesome player, but I feel like we kind of have like a Kyle Shanahan offense going where you can just plug a running back in there and they'll give you decent like production. Like not James Cook production, obviously, but they'll give you good production. So I don't know how high I am on James Cook. I mean, I want him to come back. He's an awesome player, one of the best running backs in the league. But I just don't know how much I want to pay him dealing with all the people you have to re-sign. I mean, in my opinion, getting guys like Connor McGovern and David Edwards back are more important than re-signing James Cook just because the offensive line is what James – like without an offensive line, James Cook is not as good. The O-line deserves a lot of the credit for Josh and James' success this year. So for guys like that, that's bigger. And for like Terrell Bernard and Christian Benford, two of the rising stars in the league, obviously we saw how bad our defense was in the playoffs. James' production didn't matter.
Yep.
So if we lose two studs like that on defense, that's going to be a problem. So really, it's just going to be another – I don't expect to see a bunch of big moves free agency-wise. I mean, I think the biggest thing that could possibly happen is a Myles Garrett trade. That's where I kind of cut the line. I don't see a Max Crosby or Micah Parsons trade from the Bills because with those two guys, the motivation is money. And that's something the Bills don't have to really spread around right now to younger players is money, where Garrett will take a pay cut. He just wants to win, which is definitely what the Bills want to do is they don't want to have to – they want to have the star player, but they don't want to pay him all that money because they got young players to pay. But I think a signing the Bills could see this free agency. We could see a Chase Young signing for cheap. I know Jair Alexander is getting cut. I don't really want him, but he could be getting cut. I saw him as a candidate for the Dolphins on Twitter earlier. Which
Jair Alexander?
Yeah, I feel like it's a really Dolphins move to sign an older cornerback who's definitely going to miss games due to injury.
I would love the signing for the all-time team, and after he gets hurt, you know, we'll finally be able to fire these scumbags that are in the office. So
yeah,
I don't know. And I mean that in no disrespect. I love Mike McDaniel as a play caller. Chris Greer is an amazing drafter. I'm over the bullshit when it comes to this franchise, dude. I've lived my whole life without seeing a playoff win. So
it's a big culture thing.
Yeah.
I think what Dan said, I think it was maybe last week we had him on about Carlton Davis. That could be a player I see the Bills come in and kind of run and kind of like coach up younger corners. My favorite player, but we'd have to splurge a little bit of money for, which I think he's going to resign with the Vikings, Byron Murphy, the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's one of the positions the Bills don't really have corner-wise. We don't have – like, Taryn is the slot guy. He'll go make tackles. Benford will just clamp up your guy. There's not really a ball hawk in our secondary. And I think Rasul was kind of the ball hawk last year, but that kind of faded away this year as our corners didn't really get picks this year. It was mainly – I think who led our team in picks – I don't know. I don't want to say because I don't know for sure. But, I mean, corners getting picks wasn't really the big thing for us this year. So I think having like a ball hawk like Murphy would be great. But it's a little bit of money we have to drop on him that I, once again, don't think we have. So that's why I'm kind of sticking to like the cheaper guys like Chase Young. What did I say before? Carlton Davis, cheaper guys like that.
Yeah. When it comes to situations like that, I think our leading interception player would have been Terrell Dodson, and he joined week 9. He got us, I think he got 3 or 4 picks for us. I know Ramsey got 1 or 2, like nothing crazy. I don't believe any safeties got one, like maybe Jordan Poyer, which I've grown frustrated with him. Like when you look at the Bills game, he really did screw us over. We had a good chance to beat the Bills in Buffalo, and he took the unnecessary roughness. He took a couple bad coverage plays too.
Poyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost would have rather him like not have done that, so Keon would have stayed healthy.
Like it's to the point where like, yeah, dude, that game made us go down to 2-6. Like you don't do that. It's a rough spot where we're in right now. Um, I think for the last segment, what we should do is what does it take for your team to go to the Super Bowl this year? So I'll let you go first, and then I'll talk about yours, and then I'll finish with the Dolphins because mine's a little longer.
I mean, I'm just going to sound like a broken record at this point. It really is edge rushers staying healthy. But I think another big thing is getting a speedy wide receiver, deep threat. I mean, I know it's a lot of what Bills fans already talk about, but I think the importance of getting a speedy receiver is up there just because when you look at it towards the end of the year, we really started to rely on James. And eventually for running backs, the wheels are going to run off. So I think having a deep threat guy that can just take the top off, get us a big touchdown would be great. And also with Josh, deep accuracy, he tends to overthrow those kind of guys a lot. Where if we have a fast guy that can maybe get under there and run under it, I think it'd be huge for us.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's not top of what I want. What would win us the Super Bowl is definitely that trade for Myles Garrett, or drafting a guy who has a nuclear. What was his name? Will Anderson type rookie year, which I don't think we're nailing that at 30, but that would definitely be big. It's really all defensive. Keep the backers how they are, revamp that D line, get a young corner and a vet, and then safety wise, I'm fine with rolling Rappin Bishop or Rappin Hamlin again. And then offensively, not much to change, but getting a new face in the receiving room, maybe a new vet. But I think that's really what would take us over the top and get us the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think they're very far off. Like I honestly do think if the Bills can beat the Chiefs, I don't think that they're gonna lose in the bowl. I mean, if they do, that would be heartbreaking. For the whole fan base. 0-5 would be terrible. But I do think that if they go, I don't think that they're gonna lose one bit. I think a lot of Buffalo fans would travel to the game too.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it would be like a little bit of a home game for them in that sense.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think it'll be a very interesting thing. I do think they need edge rusher for sure. For my Miami Dolphins, well, we need to go to the Super Bowl. And what I'm hoping happens is after the Super Bowl win, I come back to this video and I look and I see how many things I was right after this year. We need another safety, ideally a strong safety. I don't care how we get it. I don't care if it's through the draft. I don't care if it's through, free agency. I don't care how we get it. We need another safety. I think we need a free safety. So either re-sign Javon Holland or go out and get a stud. I think we need a corner too, and we need Kader Kohu to emerge back in his nickel prime. So obviously getting a stud corner. I do think we have an interesting edge rushing core right now. I think we keep all of our guys, have Bradley Chubb come in like a Von Miller, have Chop Robinson buried down, dude, as your edge one. Phillips needs to stay healthy. First and foremost, I should have said Tua needs to stay healthy. So that's our number one priority. Going off of that, we need to build a line so he can stay healthy. Teron Armstead's going to probably retire this year, and we can't rely on him to stay healthy. So that means that Patrick Paul needs to emerge, or we could go out and get another tackle. At right tackle, we need Austin Jackson to stay healthy. At guard, we need to get a completely new setup. Get rid of Isaiah Wynn because he can't stay healthy. We need two new guards. I'm saying this to get even to the playoffs. We need two new guards. We need to re-sign Brewer to an extension because obviously Brewer is an absolute dog. We need to feed the ball to Jonnu Smith. We need to keep the receiving core tight. We need a Malik Washington, I think, is going to improve heavily after this year. He had a great rookie campaign when he had his opportunities. Tyreek Hill is a competitor. I don't think he's a diva. I think if we end up keeping Tyreek Hill, he's going to have a big year. But I want to see Waddle emerge as the same amount of production. I don't want it to just be the Tyreek Hill show. Feed Tyreek Hill the ball. When you have a number one like Jalen Waddle, use him. Another thing is I think we need to bolster the D line. So when it comes to that, either re-sign Calais Campbell or go out and get a guy through free agency or the draft. And Zach Sealer needs to stay healthy like he always is. I mean, this year he had 10 sacks, which I believe, other than Dexter Lawrence, led the league in D tackles, which is absolutely amazing. And yeah, obviously re-signed Dodson. Oh, and get a new punter because Jake Bailey sucks. And also, if we're going on top of that, maybe I could see a world where Mike McDaniel, he's not going to give up play calling, but I do think down the line, I wouldn't hate if we got an offensive coordinator more involved instead of just him, because to win a Super Bowl and more or less to win a playoff game, we need a head coach who can be a head coach and not just a play caller, which I think he really struggles with. And I also think we need, on top of Tua staying healthy and the line being built, we need to stop doing screens on first and second down. Screens are supposed to be a good play to get chunk yardage and catch the defense off guard. So when you're doing 12 to 15 a game, it's not really catching them off guard more than it's, you know what I mean? Like at that point, it really is just you're screwing yourself. Like what are you even supposed to do when you throw literally 8+ screens every game? You know what I mean? So just be a little smarter. And run the ball. Run the ball. So I mean, I didn't even talk running back. Get a running back that can get you a 3rd and 1 almost every time.
Boo.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's yes. Scatterboo would be great, dude. Scatterboo in that offense would be awesome. Like, I mean, I think we need to draft a running back in this class, which is
Jenkins.
It's crazy that I'm saying that because we've drafted a running back
every year for the past like
2 years. 2 years. We got Achan, who's an absolute dog. Jalen Wright played great and had a really good yards per carry, but I think we need another one. Like, and you can never have enough running backs. You know what I mean? Like, even the Bills this year used all 3. So
yeah.
I like a little trio action. But that's what I think the Miami Dolphins need to win a playoff game. On top of that, to win the Super Bowl.
You know, a running back I also like for the Dolphins.
Who?
You're going one fast home run hitter, Quinshon Judkins. I personally don't want them to get him, but I'd rather the Dolphins have Judkins than all this talk of the Chiefs getting Travion Henderson. I don't want the Chiefs to have Travion Henderson.
I think if the Dolphins get Ashton Genty, I might consider
stop watching.
Yeah, I might consider taking the year off.
That would probably be the dumbest draft pick of all time.
Because it's not like you need a running back that bad. You can go into the season with the running backs we have right now.
Like, don't get me wrong, he'd be great, but dude, you're under then one of your running backs are just not getting the production they need, whether that be Genty, Jalen.
It would be Wright. Wright would get kicked, which sucks because his development would have been hindered. But I wouldn't be mad. Okay, I wouldn't be very mad. I'd be pretty mad. But I'm also at the point where it's like, how mad would I really be? Like, this is the best running back we've seen since Barry Sanders, like, when it comes to college statistics.
Is he putting you over the edge to a Super Bowl?
No, look at Saquon Barkley and the Giants.
No,
and we're in a worse situation because we have running backs. I keep seeing Genty to the Dolphins, and dude, it's like these people are literally preying on our downfalls. It's terrible, dude. So just for any Turf Talk viewers that are still watching, I'm coming out with a new video, and it's probably going to be posted tomorrow about George Blanda. 26 years of experience.
Don't spoil the video too much.
QB kicker. Yeah, you're right. QB / kicker, though. You know what I mean? and I'll even say one of the lines I said. He makes Tom Brady's career look short. Like, like this guy retired after year 12, which I didn't even mention in the video, and then played 14 more years. Like this guy's an absolute legend. So make sure to
Guy absolutely sucks.
dude, he was awesome. Dude, he's in the okay, are you in the NFL Hall of Fame though?
Bro. Okay. I'm not trying to spoil the video. I don't know what you talk about in it, so I'm not trying to say what I want to say, but I'm not gonna,
He has more interceptions than touchdowns, but also he's an absolute legend.
bro, but like 47.7 passer or completion percentage. Really?
Oh,
47.7
PAT percentage. It's a 98%.
Yeah, his field goal percentage is a 50 like 2.8%.
Dude, yeah, but for the Raiders, he had like a 52-yard game winner though. Like
Yeah,
he's
but like 50-50, he's gonna make a field goal or not. But don't worry, those PATs, they're locked.
oh, dude, this guy was an absolute stud. So be on the lookout. Are you making any videos soon?
We'll leave that up to a surprise for the viewers.
All right.
Look out for it. Look out for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make one about this beautiful year, the 1972
Ooh.
season.
5 decades ago.
Well, I mean, how many rings do you guys have?
I actually saw a Dolphins fan fighting with a Bills fan about 72 couple hours ago, and I thought it was really funny.
Well, I mean, it really is something that you got to look at because,
bro.
No, seriously though, because hear me out. How many teams have gone undefeated and won the Super Bowl?
I'm not dissing on it. I'm just saying, like, why is a Bills fan fighting about rings? 2, why are we bringing up a 50-year-old ring? And
I think when you talk about all-time legacies, I don't know how many. I really don't know how many teams.
Bro, they're playing against George Blanda.
Hold on. NFL teams in the league. I'm gonna, you know what? I was gonna end the video, but I actually feel like I need to do this right now. We're gonna look at how many teams I think have a better franchise than the Miami Dolphins. All right. All right. Hold on. Because the Raiders.
You're gonna say they don't have a better franchise?
No.
All-time greats, more Super Bowls. John Madden coached that franchise.
Okay, John Madden's not the greatest coach of all time.
He's up there.
Don Shula is. He has the most wins all time.
John Madden's not up there for one of the greatest coaches of all time?
He is for sure, but all right, and I'll wait until I say it, all right? The Bills have a worse franchise all time than the Dolphins.
Yeah.
For sure.
We'll not fight that.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins have one more appearance than the Bills, 2 more rings, the undefeated season. I believe it's the same amount of Hall of Famers.
Better than the Jets.
Way better than the Jets. Worse than the Patriots. I'm not delusional, right?
Okay.
The Patriots have 6 rings. 6 rings, 11 appearances. The Baltimore Ravens. How many rings do the Ravens have? 3? 2?
2 or 3? Let me look.
If they have 3, then I'll give it to them. If they have 2, honestly, let's talk about it.
Baltimore Ravens rings. Let's see. 2 Super Bowl rings.
All right, they're better than the Baltimore Ravens. They're worse than the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're better than the Bengals. They're better than the Browns.
I feel like Ravens is very debatable because I think there's a world where they definitely have a lot more Hall of Famers. But
yeah,
I won't fight that because I don't know the facts. I would just say, in my opinion, it's a lot. I'm doing recency bias though because the Ravens won all their 2 Super Bowls in the past 25 years. They won 2000 and 2012. So I'm showing recency bias here. That's why I'm giving it to them. But obviously, all time, I don't know about the whole Hall of Famers and whatever. So I'm just gonna leave.
And the thing is though, is they're a newer team.
I'll leave that up for debate.
Like if you're including the Baltimore Colts, which I am not. That's the Indianapolis Colts. You know what I mean? The San Diego Chargers. If a team went to San Diego now, the San Diego Chargers isn't the same franchise as the new San Diego team. So that's like when you look at history, I put them over the Ravens. Let's talk about that division though. Obviously better than the Texans, newest franchise.
Mhm.
I'm going to say that the Indianapolis Colts are better than the Miami Dolphins. This is the third team that I'll admit. I mean, dude, unparalleled championship success. Baltimore Colts were dominant. And even now, Peyton Manning, I mean, he has that ring. I'm not sure. I think that might be their only ring. I'm not positive, so I'm not going to say anything. But I do think the Colts have a better franchise. And then obviously the Jaguars and the Titans have worse franchises. The Kansas City Chiefs have a better franchise, so that makes 4 teams. The Chargers have a worse franchise. Denver has a better franchise because I'm thinking I almost forgot about the Elway years. Then you also have to consider what Elway won 3 or 4 championships. 3. I'm gonna say 3. I want to say 3 because then Peyton Manning got 1, and they don't have 5 rings. Yeah, it's definitely 3.
1-2.
2? Elway only won 2?
He won 2. According to Google, I don't know how right it is, but that's what Google's claiming.
All right, I'll still say they're better. I say that the Dolphins are better than the Ravens all time or the Raiders all time. How many rings do the Raiders have? 1?
Raiders have 3.
3?
Yeah.
What years is that? 1 with George Blanda.
Raiders Super Bowls.
1 with Blanda.
77, 81, and 84.
77, 81.
And they went to the Super Bowl in 2002 with Gannon.
I'm going to say that the Dolphins are better, especially after everything that this Raiders franchise has been through in the past 4 years. It kind of hinders them.
Nah, I'm taking the Raiders.
I don't know, bro. David Arnett.
Damon Arnett, Ohio State legend, pal.
Dolphins legend, bro. The Philadelphia Eagles have a better franchise. The Commanders do not. The Cowboys do. The Giants do not.
Why don't the Commanders have a better franchise?
We beat them in the Super Bowl. Actually, did they beat? No, they did not beat us. We beat them in the Super Bowl in the 72 season. How many rings do they have? 3?
They have 3, yeah. 3 or 4.
Oh, we have an undefeated season. And plus, the Washington Commanders have
0 rings because they're a new team because they're the Commanders, not the Redskins.
That's true. Well, even like Washington teams though, like who's their quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl? Theismann? You know what I mean? Like
what's his face? Doug something. He was when they beat the Bills.
Exactly. You don't know his full name. He's not that great.
He wore 11. I know what number he wore.
Cowboys are better. The Giants aren't. The Giants is a debatable one, but because they beat the Patriots.
They stopped an undefeated season.
Exactly, which this is why they're my second favorite team. But I still don't. They stopped an undefeated team, but they didn't beat the 72 Dolphins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm taking them to stop the Doug Williams is the quarterback for the Redskins. Yeah, I'm taking that Giants team, the 07 Giants team, to stop the 72 Fins. Trust.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about just straight up, I agree because the quarterback was freaking Bob Greasy. But
who wins, 2007 Patriots or 1972 Dolphins?
Are we evening the teams?
What do you mean? Are we evening the teams? That takes away
like going off of dominance per generation, or are we just going straight up team versus team?
Straight up team versus team.
That's not even comparable. I mean, Randy Moss, dude, who's covering Randy Moss? Dick Anderson and Jake Scott.
I mean, I'm just saying, time has changed.
Yeah, but you have to look at all when you're comparing the Super Bowl era, it's a little
when you
better.
guys won the Super Bowl, George Blanda was only like 38. So
what'd you say?
When you guys won the Super Bowl, George Blanda was like 34. 38.
No. Blanda retired in 75. He was 45 for this one.
All right, bro.
45.
All right.
The Lions are a worse franchise. The Vikings are a worse franchise. The Bears and Packers are both better. Tampa Bay's worse. Falcons are worse. Panthers are worse. Saints are worst. Rams are worst. I think. Do they have 2 rings?
Rams have 1 ring.
Then they're worse. Seattle's worse. The 49ers are better, and the Cardinals are worst. So overall, I rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Did you skip a division, or did you go through all the NFC ones?
8. I got through all of them. 9. I say that the Dolphins are the 11th best franchise in the NFL.
11 or 12, debating Baltimore Ravens. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I don't really think that's as outlandish.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, I think that's pretty respectable.
I mean, recent success, they're bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, but even that though, like when you look at the all-time win percentage, we're still like 4th or 5th. You know what I mean? Even with how bad we've been for the past 25 years, that kind of just shows you how good the Shula era was. Like, dude, I don't know, bro. The Pats wouldn't. Oh, hold on. The Pats wouldn't have had the perfect season. The only thing that stopped them was the Giants in the Super Bowl. That's true. It's just hard for me to put the Giants over the Dolphins just because they stopped the Patriots twice. Which, I mean, I don't know, bro.
I don't know. Go into the amount of Hall of Famers and whatever, and you can all-time greats. And
yeah, and even the Dolphins, they were the first team to go to 3 straight Super Bowls. So, I mean, that's got to count for something. I mean, they lost the first one against the Cowboys.
I mean, the Bills lost 4 in a row, so
they beat the Commanders, and then they beat the Vikings. So
beat the Redskins, actually.
Yeah, the Washington Redskins. That's correct. All right, so Trev.
Yeah, I just saw that.
All right, we're gonna end the video here. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to edit. So I'm Richard Donahue. I'm here with
Lang Suzak.
We're signing out. Peace out, everybody. Subscribe, like the video, and comment.